Ladies and gentlemen, my beloved brothers and sisters walking the same earth with weary but willing feet, I invite you to gather yourself, yes, gather the remnants of your past and the trembling aspirations of your future, and walk with me for a little while. Tonight, I do not stand before you with a scientist's spectacles, nor the doctor's cold stethoscope draped across my shoulders. I do not have needles, nor scalpels, nor equations. But I come bearing something you cannot fit in a pillbox, something no prescription pad can hold. A mirror, not made of glass but of truth, not cracked by time but carved by it. How long can you live after 70? Well, darling, that is a question not stitched in the seams of medical journals alone. It is sewn in your spine when you rise each morning. It whispers in your breath when you choose peace over chaos. It is written, not in fortune cookies or horoscopes, but in the calligraphy of your everyday decisions. There is a sign in you. Yes, you heard me right. A sign. A gleaming, pulsing, invisible signature scrawled across the very essence of your being, and it does not blink in neon. It is not carved in your wrinkles or the silver strands woven like wisdom through your hair. It is deeper. It lives in the way your spirit greets the dawn, and how your soul bends, not breaks under the winds of hardship. Some will tell you, once you pass 70, you've borrowed time, but I ask you, who told you that life gives loans? No, life gives moments, paid in full, and what you do with them, that is the interest that either multiplies or disappears. It is not about years stacked like bricks. It is about breath, not just breathing in, but breathing into laughter, into tears, into the arms of those you love, and into the cause of what matters to you. I have seen women who pass 70 and dance barefoot in their gardens with violets in their hair. I have seen men in their 80s write symphonies with hands that tremble only from joy. And I have seen people leave this world at 40, having long ago stopped living, though they woke up each day with breath still in their lungs. You see, age is not the number printed on your birth certificate. It is the music in your step, the grace in your forgiveness, the fire in your conviction. Let me tell you something about this sign in you. It's not external. No doctor can scan it. No lab can test for it. But it shows. Oh, it shows. It shows when you are curious still, when you ask questions that start with why and how, not just when. It shows in the sparkle that refuses to dim in your eyes. It shows in how you meet each new day, not with dread or delay, but with a quiet kind of courage that says, here I am again, still standing, still singing. There are those who believe that after 70, your story is written in its final chapters, that the ink is drying. But I say no. The ink is still wet, baby. The ink is still wet. You can pick up the pen and write something bold yet, tender still. Science may measure your life by the rhythm of your heart, by blood pressure and cholesterol, but the sign I speak of, it beats in your purpose. Do you still wake up wanting to love someone better than you did yesterday? Do you find meaning in the small gestures, like the way a child laughs with their whole body, or how two hands, aged and calloused, still find each other across a table? That is the sign. That's your sign. I've sat with elders whose bodies had betrayed them, joints stiff, organs failing, but whose words, my goodness, could split open the sky. Their voices, barely more than a whisper, held stories so powerful they rearranged the air in the room. And I knew in those moments that longevity is not simply in how long you live, but in how deeply. We are a culture obsessed with youth. We slice and stitch and stretch the skin, chasing a ghost of 20 that left the room long ago. But let me tell you what no surgeon can give you: peace with your time. You want to live longer after 70. Look at how you live now. There is no algorithm for longevity that can compete with the beauty of a life well tended. Bitterness, held too long, becomes a poison that eats you from the inside. Forgiveness, however, adds years to your spirit if not your spine. That's a truth you won't find in textbooks. I have known people who aged rapidly because they clutched their grudges like trophies, and I have known others who let go, who dropped their hurts like sacks of stone, and suddenly they stood taller, laughed easier. It was as if by letting go they made room to stay. You want to see your sign. Look at how you speak to yourself in the silence. Are you kind there? Do you nourish the child still curled up inside you? Or do you starve it with shame, regret, and doubt? Because that child, the one you were at 7 or 17, is still there, still waiting to be seen, still waiting to be healed. And healing, my friends, is not just for the sick, it's for the living, and it's for those who want to live long. Sometimes the body gets weary before the spirit does, but sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes the soul starts to slow down because we forget we are still needed. Let me remind you, as long as you are breathing, you are a thread in someone's fabric, and if you go missing, something unravels. so don't you dare think you're too old to matter. There is a myth that our later years are meant to be a slow fading, but I have seen elders light up rooms simply by entering them. I have seen their laughter loosen the grip of grief in others. I have seen them teach, touch, witness, build, guide, and restore. That's not fading. That's flourishing. You want to live longer after 70. Feed your joy. Starve your bitterness. Stretch your hands toward people and not away. Learn something new every year, even if it's how to lose with grace or how to stay still without guilt. You are not just a human being. You are a story wrapped in skin, and stories do not die. They echo. So dance if you can, and if you cannot, clap, and if your hands fail you, hum. And if your voice won't rise, let your silence bless the room like incense. But whatever you do not close up shop just because the world has told you your best days are behind you. The sign I speak of, it shows in your gratitude. When you can say thank you for every sunrise, even the cloudy ones. When you find beauty in the ordinary, a chipped teacup, a wrinkled hand, a quiet breath, that's when you know you are still among the living who are truly alive. Let me ask you, have you made someone's burden lighter today? Did you reach out or did you retreat? Did you choose the courage of vulnerability over the safety of silence? Because long life is not just about breathing longer. It is about breathing deeper, loving fuller, living wider. Do not be fooled by calendars and clocks. The soul does not count in minutes. It counts in moments, and each moment lived with meaning is a life extended by love. Oh yes, the body will change. The bones will speak in creaks and complaints. But your spirit, if you tend it well, can remain a river, flowing, giving, cleansing, carrying. So if you are 70 or 80 or 90, and you still rise to the sound of birdsong, or still fight for justice in quiet ways, or still tell a child they are worthy, then you are not merely surviving, you are thriving, and that, my dears, is the only sign you need. Let me leave you with this. When you came into this world, the sky opened to make room. Don't you know it still does? Don't you know your presence stretches across generations, that a word from you can become the wind in someone's sail long after you're gone? So plant those words like seeds. Let your life be a garden others may walk through. Let your laughter be the rain. Let your courage be the sunlight. And when the day comes that your breath becomes memory, make sure it is a melody, not a murmur. Make sure those who speak your name do so with reverence and not regret. How long can you live after 70? Well, how much love can you give? How much wonder can you hold? How many days can you wake up with a yes in your bones? The answer is not in your arteries or your ankles. It is in the eyes that still find beauty, in the heart that still breaks open to let the light in, and in the soul that refuses to be anything less than eternal. So go on, look for the sign in you. It's there, burning slow but bright. Let it guide you, let it grow you, let it keep you. And remember, it is not about the years in your life, but the life in your years. And you, my friend, have much life yet to live. Oh, how the winds of time carry us, how they lift us and lower us, how they sharpen us like stones rolling in a river. And yet even as the tides of age lap at our feet, we are not reduced, we are refined. The question remains and echoes, how long can you live after 70? And the answer continues its slow revelation, not as a sentence but as a song. It is sung in your choices, it hums in your silence, it beats in the places where you choose love over fear, and presence over regret. Let us speak then, of legacy, not the grand kind carved into marble or etched on monuments, but the quiet kind, the legacy of everyday kindness, the legacy of holding a door, of calling someone by their name with warmth, of showing up even when it would have been easier not to. These moments accumulate, like water wearing down rock, and before you know it, you have shaped the world more than you'll ever see. I have known people who, after 70, built bridges not of steel and concrete, but of understanding. They reached out to estranged family, apologized first when pride snarled its teeth, forgave not because it was asked of them, but because they needed to put down the weight. That, my beloveds, is the kind of act that lengthens life. Not only the one doing the forgiving, but the ones who receive it. There are signs of life after 70, and I don't mean a pulse, I mean a willingness to be transformed, still, to shift, to grow, to examine the hardened places in your heart, and say, I'm ready now to let this go. That's what keeps you alive. That's what makes you radiant in the dimming light. We have so many tools to measure the deterioration of the body, but we rarely measure the expansion of the soul. How do you quantify a person's decision to love again after heartbreak, to start again after failure, to speak the truth after years of silence? And yet these things stretch your life immeasurably, not always in time perhaps, but in depth. A minute of real joy is a world larger than a week of monotony. A day spent laughing with someone who sees you clearly is more nourishing than a year spent lost behind masks. So I say this gently, and with reverence. You must decide what kind of time you want to live in. Not the clock's time, but soul time. Do you want your days filled with the debris of what-ifs, or do you want your time to be the kind you savor? Even now, especially now, the quality of your time is in your hands. I know some of you carry grief like a second skin. You have outlived friends. You have seen dreams deferred. You have watched your body betray you in ways that feel unfair or cruel. But hear me when I tell you, grief is not a stop sign. It is a road marker. You are still moving, still changing, still being invited to live fully. What does it mean to live fully? It doesn't mean scaling mountains or publishing memoirs. It means being present. It means listening with your whole attention. It means blessing others with your presence. It means putting down the distractions, the defensiveness, the dread, and allowing yourself to feel the life you still have, even when it hurts. Sometimes living long means learning how to hold contradiction, joy and sorrow, hand in hand, hope and heartbreak, sitting at the same table. It means learning how to say, this moment is painful, and I'm grateful to be here anyway. That is maturity. That is courage. That is the sign you carry inside. If you're searching for that sign, here is another clue. It shows in your willingness to be seen, not just as you once were, but as you are now, to allow the world to know you in your fullness. To say, I am not only my titles, my youth, my beauty, or my accomplishments. I am also my stillness, my scars, my softness, my survival. That is where the gold lives. You want to live longer? Let go of the need to prove, the need to compare, the need to apologize for having aged. You are not an expired version of your younger self. You are a richer, deeper, more textured iteration. You have lived through seasons that would have felled lesser trees, and yet here you stand, rooted. In some ways, growing old is the ultimate revolution, because it says, I stayed, I endured, I continued to open myself to life despite disappointment, loss, and change. And those who live longest are not necessarily the strongest of body, but often the most supple of spirit. Those who bend do not break. I have watched people in their later years begin again. They take up art or advocacy. They join choirs, learn languages, plant trees, not because they think they'll become famous for it, but because the act itself fills them, and that filling, that sense of being alive to something greater than yourself, that's what pushes back the walls of time. Do not let fear fence you in. You may fear loneliness, insignificance, frailty, but the antidote to fear is not denial, it is connection, and connection is something that can be cultivated at any age. It starts with reaching out, with telling the truth, with being the one who says first, I miss you, I love you, I need you, and if there are no others to reach for, then reach within. Reconnect with the parts of yourself you left behind to survive. The artist, the dreamer, the soft-hearted child. Bring them home, make a home within yourself. You see, the sign of a life that can continue long past 70 is not a beating heart alone. It is a beating purpose. It is rhythm. It is reverence. It is saying yes when it would be safer to say nothing. It is choosing to bless the day, even if the day is cloudy. Now let us be clear, living long is not the same as avoiding death. Death comes. It comes for all. But long life means that when death comes, it finds you in motion, still engaged in the holy labor of becoming. Not finished, perhaps, but not resigned either. It means that you meet your final days, however far away they may be, not as an end, but as a culmination. A moment when the soul that has loved and lost, cried and laughed, worked and rested, finally exhales and says, I have used this life well. Do you know what that kind of peace does to the body, to the mind? It quiets the fears that eat away at us. It silences the voice that says we're too late, too broken, too old. And in that silence you'll hear something else, a voice soft and familiar, saying, you are right on time. It is never too late to choose tenderness. Never too late to listen to someone like they are the most important sound in the world. Never too late to make amends, to make a meal, to make someone feel seen. These are the acts that make time expand. There is an old saying that we die as we live. So live now with the kind of grace you want to be remembered by. Speak now the words you want to echo. Live now the love you hope returns to you. Look around you. There is still breath in your body, thought in your mind, blood in your veins. That is no accident. That is invitation. The world needs you, not the younger you, not the perfect you, but the you who knows something about what it means to hold on when it would have been easier to let go. You are the story keepers, the soul tenders, the ones who remember how things were, and who can imagine how things still might be. You are not in the winter of your life, you are in your harvest. And what you gather now, what you give now, will feed others long after you are gone. So hold your head high, not in arrogance but in reverence for all you've endured, for all you've become, and for all you still are. How long can you live after 70? The answer is still being written, still being sung, in every kindness, in every lesson passed down, in every hug given freely, in every morning you rise and say, "Today I will live." You answer the question, you answer it beautifully. The sign is in you, carry it, honor it, live it. And so we walk a little further now, deeper still into the heart of the matter, into that sacred question, how long can you live after 70? And what does it mean to live at all? I do not come to you with predictions, but with presence. I do not offer guarantees, only guidance. For there are truths not taught in schools, and this is one of them. To live long is not merely to outlast the calendar, but to outshine the limitations set upon you by fear, fatigue, and forgetting. And how easily we forget. We forget that we were born knowing how to dance, knowing how to delight. Watch a child and you will see, they move as if the music of life is already inside them. They do not ask permission to laugh, they do not apologize for joy. And then somehow we grow. We gather burdens, we are told to sit still, be good, be quiet, and the music becomes muffled. But the music never leaves. It hums in your bones even now. It pulses in the quiet hour before sunrise. It lives in your fingertips when they reach out to comfort someone who has forgotten their worth. And when you listen to that music, when you tune your days to it, you begin again to live. You begin to live longer, not because you have avoided death, but because you have chosen to belong to life. And belonging, that word is no small thing. To belong is to say, I am part of this, I matter here. My voice adds something, my absence would be felt. That sense of mattering does not diminish with age. If anything, it deepens. For with age comes a clarity that sweeps away the unnecessary. You learn what deserves your energy. You learn how to be at home in yourself. To those who say age is a thief, I say no. Age is a sculptor. It carves away the superficial, and leaves only what is essential. And if you've lived well, if you've loved hard and risked truthfully, then what remains is not diminished but distilled. I have known people who after 70 began to tell the truth for the first time in their lives. They no longer had the time or the appetite for pretending, and in that truth they found freedom. The kind that adds not just days to your life, but life to your days. There is a holiness in that kind of honesty, a quiet revolution, to say this is who I am now. Not who I was, not who I wish to be, but who I am, and that is enough. To say that and mean it, is to stand in the center of your own light. Some people live entire decades in the shadows of expectation, approval, performance. But you have earned the right to step out, to breathe in the full air of your own becoming, and what a beautiful thing that is. What a reason to keep going. Do not think you are too late for wonder. Wonder, my dear ones, is not reserved for the young. It does not wear a watch. It lives wherever the heart is open. If you can still marvel at the way leaves turn gold before falling, if you can still be moved to tears by a poem or a piece of music, then wonder is with you still. And if wonder is with you, then so is life. True life, not survival, not routine, but the kind that stirs the soul. There are people who dread growing old because they think it means becoming invisible. But I tell you this, invisibility is not a symptom of age. It is a symptom of a world that has forgotten to honor its elders. And we must rewrite that narrative, not just for you, but for those who will follow. Let the world see your glory. Let them witness the fire still in your spirit. Let your presence teach them how to hold aging not as a burden, but as a blessing, because that is what you are, a blessing, a living archive of love, of resilience, of memory. You have seen wars begin and end. You have held hands in hospital rooms. You have stood in kitchens and whispered prayers over soup and sorrow. You have buried loved ones and held your own heart like a fragile thing. You have risen after disappointment, after heartbreak, after years that felt like droughts, and still, you bloom. Do you understand the miracle of that? The sign in you is not subtle, it is luminous. It's in the way you show up, in how you listen, in how you offer grace when others offer judgment. It is in your steady, weathered, wondrous gaze that says, I have lived, and I am still learning. That is the mark of someone truly alive. If you are still learning, you are still living, and learning does not stop at the borders of retirement. It does not bow to aching joints or blurry vision. It continues as long as there is breath in you. Learn something today. It doesn't have to be grand. It can be the shape of a new leaf, the name of a star, the story behind a neighbor's silence. It can be the art of listening without needing to respond. It can be the humility of changing your mind. Learning is not an academic act. It is a spiritual one. It tells your body, I am still here. I am still curious. I am still becoming. And those who are still becoming are not done. They are in motion. And where there is motion, there is vitality. Perhaps no one has told you lately. It is not too late. Not too late to forgive. Not too late to heal. Not too late to love. Not too late to light a fire in someone else's dark night. Not too late to dance. Not with feet necessarily, but with soul. I once knew a woman who in her 70s started to write letters, hundreds of them, to people she had loved and lost contact with. Some she mailed, some she never sent, but each letter unburdened her. Each one gave her a piece of herself back. She said it felt like breathing again, after years of holding her breath. And don't we all hold our breath sometimes, hoping the pain will pass, hoping the years will slow? But life is not to be held at bay. It is to be exhaled, fully, boldly, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. For pain is not the opposite of life. It is part of it. What you do with your pain, how you metabolize it into wisdom, how you turn it into compassion, that is the alchemy of living long and living well. The sign in you is not a number. It is a choice. To stay open when it would be easier to close. To reach out when isolation whispers. Stay safe. To believe in goodness, even after you've seen so much brokenness. That is the real sign. The sacred one. You want to know how long you can live after 70. Ask yourself how long you are willing to love. How long you are willing to grow. How long you are willing to be surprised. Because when those things end, so does the richness of your time here. But if you keep loving, keep listening, keep finding new ways to be useful, keep discovering new reasons to be grateful, then you are not aging, you are ascending. And when the day comes, and it will, when the body must yield, let your soul be ready, let it be full. Let it have no corners left unexplored. Let your eyes close with the kind of peace that only comes to those who have truly lived. Until then, keep walking, keep dancing, even if only in your mind. Keep laughing, even through your tears. Keep teaching the young how to carry the torch, not by preaching but by living as a torch yourself. Be the proof that a life past 70 is not an epilogue. It is a chapter of clarity, of truth-telling, of grace. It is where you become your fullest self, not in spite of time but because of it. This is not your sunset, my dear ones. This is your harvest moon, and it shines just as brightly. And now, with the moon rising high in the evening sky of our reflection, let us settle into the understanding that life, real life, the kind that sings and stirs and shapes the world, is not measured by the tick of the clock, but by the beat of your courage. You see, after 70, you have a certain power, not loud, not flashy, but deep. It's the power of perspective, the power of patience, the power to see through the noise to the notes that matter. You've walked enough miles to know that storms pass, that people change, and that peace, when it comes, is a treasure more valuable than any gold. What you do with that power matters. Because younger eyes are watching. They may pretend not to. They may look past you in the store, in the boardroom, in the street. But believe me, they are watching. Watching to see if growing older means growing wiser, or simply growing weary. Watching to see if love survives long years, if grace holds up under pressure. You are living evidence of what is possible. So live with intention. Live like someone is learning from you, because they are. When you laugh with your whole chest, even after loss, someone sees and thinks, maybe I can make it too. When you speak calmly in conflict, someone witnesses it and believes there might be a better way. When you admit you were wrong without shame, someone learns that growth does not have an expiration date. That is the gift of age, not just to look back, but to reach forward, to shape the world that is still being born. And it is still being born. Through you, through your presence, your participation, your prayer. Don't let the world convince you your part is over. The curtains have not closed. The audience is still leaning in. You may not be the star on the center stage, but oh how your voice in the choir deepens the harmony. How your footsteps guide others away from cliffs you once nearly fell from. How your memory keeps the stories alive that would be lost without your telling. So speak. Tell us what you've seen, not with bitterness but with clarity. Tell us how hearts can heal. Tell us what it cost you to forgive. Tell us what love looks like after disappointment, what joy looks like after mourning. We need your stories not for nostalgia, but for navigation. You know something about staying when others have gone, about showing up when you'd rather stay home. about choosing the difficult right over the easy wrong. Don't keep that wisdom locked in silence. The world does not need more noise, but it needs your voice. Speak not just to be heard, but to help, and live not just to survive, but to serve. That does not mean martyrdom. It means knowing that a kind word, a warm glance, a steady presence can be medicine. It means understanding that your greatest gift may not be your knowledge, but your attention. Attention is a rare and precious currency these days. But you know how to give it. You know how to sit with someone in their pain without rushing them out of it. You know how to listen between the lines. That is wisdom. That is compassion. That is how lives are changed. You have changed lives, you know. You may not know their names. You may not see them again. But somewhere someone breathes easier because of your kindness. Somewhere a person chose hope because you didn't give up on them. Somewhere a child grew into something beautiful because you saw them clearly when no one else did. And that, more than anything, is what will extend your life. Not in years, necessarily, but in reach, in resonance. A life well lived leaves echoes, and those echoes carry forward, long after the last breath. That is a kind of immortality no machine can measure. So ask not only how long can I live, but how deeply can I live, and ask it every day. Ask it when you wake up and see the sun through the window. Ask it when you feel your bones ache but your spirit stir. Ask it when you sit with an old friend, or hold a trembling hand, or watch a stranger's face soften at your smile. Let your days be filled with those questions. Let them guide you toward choices that align with what matters. Because at the end, when your story is done, what people will remember is not how fast you moved, or how much you made, but how fully you were here. Were you present? Did you love? Did you forgive? Did you risk tenderness? Did you find joy in small things? Did you bless others with your being? These are the questions that trace the shape of a life well lived, and they do not begin at 70. But at 70 they take on a new meaning. At 70 you are free from many of the illusions that once bound you. You are free to say what's true, to wear what you like, to do what delights you. You are no longer defined by the chase for approval. You are shaped by something deeper now, and that shaping, oh, it is beautiful, like stone polished by waves, like wood aged by sun and rain, like wine that matures and deepens in flavor. You are the result of time's touch, and there is nothing you must do to prove your worth. You are enough, but if you still want to give, if your hands are willing, then let your gifts be given with joy. Teach a child to read, teach a friend to listen, teach a neighbor to grow tomatoes. Teach the world to slow down and pay attention, because you know the value of time now. You know what's worth rushing for, and what's worth lingering over. Linger, that is the secret. Linger in the laughter. Linger in the morning light. Linger at the table after the meal is done. Linger in the arms of someone who still sees you. Let others rush. You, take your time, because you have earned it, because you know now that time is not a race, it is a rhythm, a song. And you, my friend, are the keeper of its chorus. So sing, sing with your life, and let us listen. Let us be changed by what we hear. Let us rise in gratitude for your presence, for the sign that lives in you is not fading, it is rising, and we are rising with it. There is still more to say, still more to feel, and in you still more to live. You see, age is not a wall that fences you in. It is a window that opens wide to the soul of what matters. It is not a loss of capacity, but a deepening of capacity. You do not love less because your hands are slower, or your eyes take longer to focus. No, if you have lived honestly, you love more. You love not out of need or novelty, but out of knowing. Knowing that time is not infinite, that people are not perfect, that life is not always kind, and yet you love anyway. That is the sign in you. The unmistakable, undeniable mark of someone who has endured and still chooses tenderness. The young often ask what the secret is. The secret to living long, the secret to being happy, the secret to feeling free. But it isn't really a secret at all. It's written in the way you carry yourself, in the way your silence speaks just as loudly as your words. It's in your gentle refusal to rush, in your quiet delight in something as simple as the smell of coffee, or the way sunlight rests on your lap. To live long is to learn to pay attention to those small graces. They may seem minor to the hurried world, but they are everything. A bird on the windowsill, the smile of a stranger, a child's hand reaching up to hold your own. These are the sacred things. These are the riches of a life well tended, and tending is what you do best now. You tend to the people around you, not with flashy gestures but with presence. You tend to your garden, not because you need vegetables but because watching something grow renews your spirit. You tend to your home, your faith, your friendships, your rituals, each a thread in the fabric of meaning you have spent a lifetime weaving. There are those who will try to reduce you to your age, who will speak to you slowly or too loudly, who will look through you as if the fire in your eyes had gone out. But you know better, and because you know better, you do better. You do not waste time pretending to be younger than you are. You do not hunger for the approval of those who do not see your value. You walk in the fullness of your earned wisdom, and that, my dear, is a revolution all its own. What a marvel it is to be 75 and still fall in love with the sky. What a gift to be 80 and still wake up grateful for your breath. What a testimony to be 90 and still find the courage to forgive someone who never asked for it. This is not weakness. This is strength of the highest order. Because the strength you hold now is not the strength of muscle but of marrow, not of speed but of soul. You have been stripped of illusions. You have let go of the performances that once wore you down. You are who you are, and you are more radiant for it. And so the question of how long you can live after 70 becomes less a question of biology and more a question of belief. Do you believe you still matter? Do you believe your voice still has power? Do you believe that your joy, your humor, your stories, your prayers still have weight in the world? Because if you do, if you believe that, then there is no limit to how long you can live. And by live I mean fully. I mean fiercely. I mean lovingly. There is no scientific chart that can track the life of your spirit. No doctor's test that can measure your will to thrive. But I have seen it in the eyes of those who refuse to surrender to resignation. I have seen it in the hands that keep building, in the hearts that keep hoping, in the arms that still open wide, no matter how many times they've held grief. You, too, have known grief. You've sat in that cold room of silence, where no one knows what to say. You've walked behind caskets and tasted tears that refused to dry. And yet somehow you kept going. That is no small thing. That is life in its fiercest form. That is the kind of life that cannot be measured in years alone. So do not ask how long you have left. Ask instead how you will spend what remains. Because the truth is, none of us know the day nor the hour. But you, who have seen more days than most, know how to honor each one. Honor it by waking up and saying thank you, even when your back aches. Honor it by reaching out to someone you love, even when your voice shakes. Honor it by trying something new, even when your knees tremble. That is the defiance of real life. To keep showing up, to keep choosing joy, to keep surprising yourself. Yes, surprise yourself. Because life is not over when it becomes familiar. It is only over when you stop allowing room for the unexpected. Let yourself be astonished. Let yourself be moved. Let yourself be wrong sometimes, and laugh about it. Let yourself be right, but stay humble. Let yourself be seen, really seen, not just as someone who used to be, but someone who still is. You are still here. That in itself is a victory. Do not underestimate the power of your presence. You may not run marathons, but your stories run deep. You may not chase trends, but you shape culture every time you pass down your truth. You may not shout, but when you speak, people lean in. Because the world is hungry for authenticity, and you are rich in it. So give freely. Give your compassion, your courage, your creativity. Give your recipes, your rituals, your remedies. Give your advice, but only when asked, and your support, always. Give your laughter and your silence too. Give your hard-earned wisdom with humility, and your blessings without limit. You are not done giving, and as long as you are giving, you are living. Yes, there are days when your energy may falter, when you forget a name or a date, or why you walked into the room. That does not diminish you. That does not erase the decades of learning, loving, losing, and living that you carry in your soul. You are not your aches. You are not your past. You are not a statistic. You are a story, still being written, a song still being sung, a light still being seen. And as long as someone is listening, watching, remembering, you remain alive in ways that transcend the body. Let us return then to the sign within you, that invisible, glowing symbol that tells the world not how long you've lived, but how well. It is not tattooed on your skin. It is not announced in headlines. It is written in the ways you love, in the people you have helped up off the ground, in the dreams you dared to chase, and the regrets you've learned to forgive. It is in your soft yes and your firm no. It is in your laughter that echoes across rooms and your tears that fall in the dark. It is in your presence now, here, among us. The sign says this: you are still needed. You are still becoming. You are still loved. And that, more than any date on a birth certificate, is how you can tell how long you will live. Because those who are loved and who love in return live forever. Maybe not in body, but in memory, in spirit, in the shape they leave in the hearts they've touched. So live now in such a way that your love will linger. Live now in such a way that the world grows a little softer, a little kinder, because you are in it. Live now, so when the final breath comes, it finds you not afraid but fulfilled. And may we who walk with you, who learn from you, who love you, may we rise to meet the standard you have set. May we carry forward your grace. May we honor your journey. May we listen when you speak, and may we never ever forget, you are not fading, you are illuminating, and the path is brighter because you are walking it still.